to order at 6 p.m. This hearing is being held as a requirement by the provisions of Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth and Act relative to the protection of the wetlands as most recently amended. Notice the time and place of these hearings was published in the Fairhaven Neighborhood News on May 8, 2025 and September 5th, 2025. It was also posted in the town's clerk's office. This meeting is being audio and video taped. Persons wishing to be held will be called in the following order. I'd entertain a motion to open the public meeting.
Motion to open this public hearing.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll start right out. Minutes for approvals. There are no minutes right now. Mark, any meeting mail?
No.
Okay. Any old business?
No.
Okay. So, continue public hearing, 101 Lake Street, New Bedford Reservoir, Lakes 1, 2, and 4, map 3, lot 13, map 4, lot 49, and map 19, lot 32, SE 0010595. A notice of intent was filed by James Kelly, Town of Acushnet, for the property located at the New Bedford Reservoir, Lakes 1, 2, and 4. The applicant proposes the removal of the root of invasive weeds from the areas of the New Bedford Reservoir, Lakes 1, 2, and 4, located in Acushnet using an eco-harvester. The applicant is represented by Scott Daggett, Lake Street Improvement Committee's review of matters presented. Votes may be taken. I'd like to entertain a motion to continue the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Scott? Good to
Scott
see you.
Daggett of the Lake Street Improvement Committee, along with Mr. Gary Coppa of the Lake Street Improvement Committee. We're here tonight to hopefully get a vote, get approval and get a vote, finally close out this hearing. Get the order of conditions signed, and then I can go ahead and get them recorded.
Okay, so what I think the best thing to do, Scott, is I'll come right out and read the whole order of condition,
Sure.
and then we'll go from there. How's that sound?
Since it's been a while, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Before I even read, Scott, I just want to kind of give you one suggestion. I know that the first one is eliminated order condition, eliminated copy. You might want to think about putting a mailbox on property, right on the site. So this way you can keep all your paperwork in it. Anyone that pulls up, and not just us, like DP or anybody pulls up, everything is right on site in a mailbox. And the only reason I'm suggesting this, I've done it many times on our sites, and it really works nice, because even if people are passing each other. So with that being said,
That would be a temporary mailbox?
yeah, no numbers on it, no nothing, it's a site box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now it gives anybody, so if they're out there working on the water and someone pulls up and says, oh, where's the thing? In the mailbox, right? And it gives it a really nice location. You might want to lock it on the weekends or whatever, but I'm just, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah.
So with that being said, aquatic plant manager projects in lakes and ponds are subject to the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131-40, and the associated regulations in 310 CMR 10. Okay, number one, eliminate the copy of the order of conditions and the general operational plans shall be on site during weed removal operations. Number two, no work occurred between April 1st and June 15th in order to avoid minimizing the project impact of spawning river heron, American eel, presence in the lake, time of year condition per DMF letter. Number three, the applicant shall provide the commission and its agent with 2 weeks' notice prior to beginning work on site. Number four, prior to beginning removal operation, the applicant shall provide the Conservation Commission and the agent with the overall operational details of the project, including the proposed timetables for work, the location of staging areas for the project, the point of access, the site access for eco-harvester, and any necessary erosion control measures that need to be implemented to prevent siltation resulting from the work entering the adjacent waters in the event the bank is disturbed. Number five, prior to weed removal operations, general areas of target species for control and areas of non-target species shall be identified and indicated on a map of appropriate scale. The applicant shall take all feasible measures to avoid impacts to non-target species. Number 6, prior to the start of weed removal operation, the applicant shall identify the on-site locations that will be used for the dewatering and handling of the aquatic vegetation removed and provide the information to the Conservation Commission and its agent. The applicant, number 7, the applicant and the operator shall record the general location and approximate amount of aquatic vegetation removed to assist the project evaluation and monitoring. Number 8, the applicant shall record, monitor any area of bank or any other adjacent resource area disturbing during weed removal operation. This information should be geolocated and included in the final annual project summary to facilitate monitoring potential pioneer infestations of non-invasive aquatic species. Number 9, the applicant and any persons involved in work subject to the OOC should notify the commission or its agent immediately upon discovering any matter related to this OCC that may affect an area within the jurisdiction of the commission. Number 10, a spill kit shall be presented on the site at all times during operation. On-site absorption materials shall be maintained for use in containing accidental spills. The equipment operators shall be prepared to respond immediately to any accidental releases of fuel, motor oil, lubricating oils, or other potential contaminants. In the event that any such spill occurs, the issue authority shall be immediately notified and contaminated areas shall be treated according to the guidelines established by the DEP Bureau of Waste Site Cleanup, BWSC. 11, the applicant shall provide the commission and agent with general description of the shoreside dewatering process and the materials that will be used, including shoreside location. A general description of the process, the approximate amount of time vegetation needs to dewater prior to transportation, any necessary containment measures that will be employed, and the materials needed. Ground tapes, stakes, whatever. Number 12, containment measures shall be implemented to prevent the disturbance of aquatic invasion vegetation during the onshore dewatering process. Potential measures include stake tops and deployment of a temporary containment barrier such as straw water. 13, the applicant shall coordinate with the Acushnet Department of Public Works for the transportation of aquatic vegetation removed during the project. Number 14, during transport, the removed vegetation should be securely contained within the vehicle bed using a top or other method to prevent inadvertent dispersal of invasive aquatic vegetation to other bodies within the town. The removed vegetation shall be sequestered from other on-site materials and is mulched for a minimum of 1 year to ensure that the invasive vegetation is not inadvertently spread through the disposal of viable fragments. 16, the applicant in collaboration with DEP, the commission, and the agent should be prepared to consider other disposal methods such as incineration as necessary. 17, the applicant shall coordinate with the commission, the agent, and other parties to develop outreach materials to educate the public about the problem of invasive aquatic species and measure to prevent its spread. 18, the applicant shall coordinate with the commission, the agent, and other parties to develop signage for posting on site to educate the public about the issue of invasive aquatic vegetation. Number 19, the applicant, in accordance with the commission of the town of Acushnet, should develop a roll-out strategy to highlight the project and its goals. Local media should be notified, the towns and the town officials identified to speak to these outlets in order to promote the work and the appointment of conservation. Number 20, the applicant should provide a brief written summary of the overall weed removal activities within 30 days of the completion of work. Number 21, the application, in collaboration with the commission and the agent, as well as other interest parties, should meet sometime in the fall to review the project and any challenges and counted, as well as potential opportunities to enhance and improve future weed removal operations. Number 22, the applicant, in collaboration with the Conservation Commission agent, members of the Lake Street Improvement Committee, town officials, and other interest parties, should meet to discuss the development of a long-term management strategy for the overall ecological health of the affected watered bodies to ensure maintenance of recreational opportunities for the public. Batman!
I'm up for air. I'm up for air. Very good.
All right. So with that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion that, see, how do I want to word that, Joanne?
Motion to approve.
These and the original, right? Okay, so we're gonna entertain a motion to approve the standard order of conditions as well as the special order of conditions.
Make the motion?
Do I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. There you go, young man.
Thank you.
Can I ask Scott one question? So Scott, I know you've got something going on. I know you have something going on this weekend.
Yeah.
Is it this weekend? It's cleanup?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Saturday at 10 a.m., just put the word out there. I'm gonna be out there picking up litter, trying to find volunteers, so I put on the All Things Acushnet Facebook page, you know, a request, let people know that I'm gonna be out there picking up trash, try to get volunteers, so just to throw that out there. It's gonna start at 10 a.m. Gonna meet at the picnic tables on the beach.
Joanne,
Bags
I should close
and
this.
nitro gloves
I should
and
close it, yes.
bug repellent will be supplied.
All right, with that being said, to Scott, I'd like to entertain a motion that we close the public hearing of Lake Street.
Motion to close this public hearing on Lake Street?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go, young man.
Scott, I would just like to say on behalf of the commission, I know years in the making here, you guys have been working very, very hard as a small group to get this project underway. Very diligent.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck. I think this is gonna be a huge asset to this town if we can accomplish what we're striving to do. Good luck.
Thank you. Look forward to getting it started.
Okay, next. Continue public hearing, NOI and Stormwater White's
Same
Farm.
Saturday.
White's Farm Incorporated, 211 Middle Road, map 23, lot 29, 29A, and 29B, SE 0010596. A notice of intent and stormwater application was filed by Zachary Parks, Middle Road, Acushnet Solar LLC, for the property located at 211 Middle Road, map 23, lot 29, 29A, and 29B. The applicant proposes to construct a ground-mounted solar array on a portion of the open fields within the property located at 211 Middle Road in Acushnet. Work is limited to the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetlands and bank. The applicant is represented by Sarah Stearns of Beals and Thomas Incorporated. Plan name is Middle Road PF Solar Development, dated September 10, 2024. The applicant has requested a continuance to the May 28, 2025 meeting. With that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion that this gets continued, public hearing gets continued to May 28, 2025.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, request for an amended order of condition, applicant, Sincapa Park Drive LLC, owner White's Farm Incorporated, off Park Drive, SE 0010553. A request for an amendment to an existing order of condition was filed by Sincapa Park Drive LLC for property located off Park Drive, map 17, lot 22B13. The applicant proposes to install a solar photovoltaic array consisting of 4,999 kilowatts in battery storage project within the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetative wetland. Revisions include wetland crossing areas and wetland flagging. The applicant is represented by Matthew Connors of Weston and Sampson Engineers. Plan name is Park Drive Solar PV Development dated December 10th, 2020. Revised plans dated March 20th, 2025. Reviews of matters presented, votes may be taken. I'd like to entertain a motion to open.
Motion to open?
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good evening, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our wetlands consultant is still working his way here. He got stuck in some traffic on Route 24. I'm happy to proceed. I don't have the plans with me. I think some of our discussion tonight is just an update, procedural update, and questions, but I leave it to you. If you want to put us after one or two other items on the agenda and wait for him and review plans, we can wait, or we can proceed right now without those.
What do you think, guys? So you wanna, we can skip a couple, I think we can do the couple Slocum streets
Yeah.
and then come back to this? Okay.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do, Mark, you got something to say?
I was gonna say it makes sense. to
Yeah,
wait for-
I'd rather,
Yeah, I think so.
I'd rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank
So
you.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna entertain a motion to take this out of order and put it from 3 beyond this one.
Motion?
Yeah.
Second? All those in favor? Aye, okay. Public hearing, stormwater, Global Property Services, 15 Morningside Avenue. A stormwater permit application was filed by Global Property Services for property located at 15 Morningside Avenue, map 16, lot 48. The applicant proposes to construct a 4-bedroom residential group home with associated access drive. Parking lot, surface sewage disposal system, utilities, and bio-retention area. The applicant is represented by Robert Rogers of GAF Engineering Incorporated. Plan name is Site Development, dated March 26, 2025. The applicant was withdrawn on May 5th, 2025. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. So what I can say to this is, I don't know if there's anyone here in the public for,
We still open?
oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing on this case?
Second.
All those?
Aye.
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 Okay, anyone from the public have anything with Morningside Avenue?
I live there.
Okay. Would you like to come up and say anything before they're withdrawing?
They're withdrawing.
The application.
The reason they're withdrawing is because they're exempt of a stormwater permit, and they're exempt of the zoning and everything else on that property being a group home. So when they sent it to us for a stormwater, I actually started looking into it. It don't need a stormwater, and it don't need no zoning or anything, so that's why they withdrew from it.
So that means it will move forward.
Correct, it will still move forward. The project will move forward, but the Conservation Commission doesn't have nothing
Is
to
this a
do with it.
non-profit organization?
It's a group home, so I'm gonna say 99% of the time they are, and that's why this doesn't flag a commercial building, that's why this doesn't flag anything except for a regular residential lot. That's, you know what I mean?
The company building is a for-profit company.
Well,
They're out of Rehoboth.
yeah.
Even though they carry a .org designator, they are for-profit. And they build group homes primarily for mentally challenged and things like that, traumatic
Okay.
brain injury.
All right, I don't wanna go too far with this, sir, and I don't wanna cut you off. The only thing I'm saying is that we can only deal with what's in our jurisdiction, and since what you're talking about is out of our jurisdiction, it's kinda like, which is not needed tonight. You can go maybe to the planning board, building
Yeah,
department,
I don't know where it
those are
stands.
the two departments I would think about going to. Like I said, we just took, and the reason they withdrew is because they thought they needed something. I actually started looking all into it. I went to the building department, I went to the planning board, and that's why I know that this was taken and they're exempt all of it because of a group home.
Okay,
All right?
yeah.
Okay, so with that, anyone else? Oh, we're good? Okay. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion that this gets withdrawn.
Make the motion to withdraw?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then close, please.
Entertain a motion to close this.
Motion to close this.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next. Public hearing, NOI Stormwater, Acushnet Company, 4 Slocum Street, SE 001-0604. A notice of intent was filed by Acushnet Company for the property located at 4 Slocum Street, map 25, lot 24. The applicant's project is an implement of comprehensive remedial action plan, which includes excavation and stabilization, removal of impacted soils from the property and wetland resources area. The applicant is represented by Kyle Piggin, of Woodward and Curran Incorporated. Plan name is Slocum Street Infrastructure Improvement, dated May 24th, 2024. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. I'd like to entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing on this case.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Go right ahead, young man.
Great, thank you very much. Good evening. I'm Kyle Pigeon with Woodard and Curran, here on behalf of the Acushnet Company. Also here is Ingrid Egan with Woodard and Curran, who's the licensed site professional for the MCT cleanup of the site, and Kevin Kelly with the Acushnet Company. I have the affidavit of service and the information about the abutters. Just go to you now.
Yeah,
Do this now. Do you need the originals of these copies of them? Okay. Those are the cards we've received so far. Great. So I can start by providing some brief background about the property itself. And then Andrea, as the LSP, is also going to discuss the implementation of the work.
Did we put that tripod doing?
I can.
You can borrow mine.
One hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay, great. And I'll just mention that on the agenda, I think maybe there was just a copy paste thing with the name of our plan. It seems to be the same as the next item on the agenda.
They were very similar.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Yeah, yeah.
The
So
two plans for
Right.
the outfall pipe and that are the same.
yeah. One is 0.
Yeah, 4
Is that what you're
Slocum,
talking about?
Yeah,
4
4
Slocum
Slocum and 0.
and 0 Slocum.
yeah, just for completeness, they both say that the plan name is Slocum Street Infrastructure Improvements, which
File
isn't the name.
One says project. Yours says Slocum Street Infrastructure Improvements dated May 24, and the other one was for the outfall pipe and storm drainage, Slocum Street Infrastructure Improvements Project. Is that
They
okay?
close.
But I don't think that
It's
is
not.
in fact the name of our plan.
It's not?
It's not
infrastructure
So
improvement.
this-
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
That's
that
okay.
this
Yeah,
is,
that's,
I can correct that.
yeah.
Yeah, you might want a remedial program. Is that what was in the notice of intent? Is that-
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I might have picked it up right from the plan.
Remedial plan.
Remedial plan, in the same, I have the date corrected.
That order of conditions, it could be, okay.
Yeah, that's not the right thing.
Okay.
May
I'm sorry about that.
that's okay. It's
I
just-
looked at the actual plan when I picked it up.
Yeah, maybe just for the record. Correct. So, I know that the commission visited the site last weekend. There was some discussion of some specific conditions, and I saw that we handed out those draft conditions now. We can talk about those because all are consistent with my understanding of the discussion at the site, so that's great. So fundamentally, this is a soil remediation project associated with a site cleanup under the Massachusetts contingency plan. There's soils in discrete portions of the property in the site that contain elevated concentrations of metals and petroleum constituents. And these concentrations present a risk to human health and the environment. So some of these soils would be excavated and disposed of off-site, and other soils will be treated on-site and to stabilize them and reduce risk of the contaminant mobility. And this project, since it is a MCP cleanup, qualifies as a limited project under the Wetland Protection Act. And there have been previous filings with the commission over the past several years associated with this project, request for determination of applicability, primarily associated with investigatory work, soil borings, vegetation clearing associated with soil borings and that type of thing. And then this is the cleanup work that would be kicking off associated with that investigatory work. So just to give everyone a sense of the site features, Slocum Street is off the map here to the north. The Acushnet River is to the west and south of the site. The red line here outlines the limit of work where the work would take place, as well as a small area up here in the parking lot. This portion of the property itself, it's a mix of forested habitat, open habitat, and sort of scrubland habitat. It's mostly uplands. There was a resource area delineation completed last fall to flag the wetlands. The bordering vegetated wetlands on the site are represented here in this green, and there's a small portion of the bordering vegetated wetlands that are within the limits of work and within one of the excavation areas. It's 440 square feet of what would be temporary disturbance. The anticipation is that it would be dug out and replaced in kind. And that's true of all the work proposed. There's also salt marsh on the site along the Acushnet River here. All of the salt marsh is outside of the limited work. There's a bank and coastal bank to the west of the site. And then, let's see, I also have this other plan shows the riverfront area, which encompasses a large portion of the work area. It's this dashed blue line here. And then there's land subject to coastal storm flowage that is shown on another plan here. And most of the work is outside of the flood zone. So there are small portions of the limit of work that are within the flood zone, and to the degree possible, the work area was optimized to stay out of the flood zone, and several of the planned site features, like the material management area, was moved to make sure that was out of the land subject to coastal storm flowage. So with that, and I'll say also that there's no planned changes to flood storage volume at the site. All of the restoration would ultimately be in kind to restore the existing topography on the site. So with that, Andrea, if you want to talk through some of the details, the MCP details and
Yeah.
the cleanup work.
Thank you. Thank you for meeting with Carrie and I on site on Saturday. It was a pleasure meeting with the four of you and doing a nice site walk and going over some of the key features. But as Kyle
Can
mentioned,
you do me a favor, Andrew,
Yes.
just come out with your name and...
I'm sorry.
That's okay, that's
Sorry.
okay, that's all right.
I'm Andrea Egan. I am the project manager for this project. I'm also a licensed site professional. I am not the LSP of record for this site. That's Lisa Camp, but I do work with Lisa very closely on the project. So this project has been in the MCP framework since 2007, when a release of various constituents were detected in soil and groundwater. It was reported to DEP. And since that time, there's been numerous investigations that have taken place at the site that have fully delineated the nature and extent of the impacts at the site. There's two portions of the site. There's the northern portion that's shown off plan here, where there's a developed area. We're not gonna be doing any work there. All of our work is gonna focus on the southern portion of the site, which is where all, the vegetated areas are. And we've done extensive risk assessment work using the data that have been collected to date, and we've identified essentially 10 distinct areas in the southern portion of the site that are contributing to excess human health and ecological risk, primarily due to the presence of petroleum and metals in soil and groundwater. And so we've gone through and we've delineated these 10 areas through what we call in situ investigation work. So we've gone to each of these excavation areas. We've put soil borings around the areas and then collected samples to identify what soil needs to come out in order to achieve a condition of no significant risk and what soil can remain. And that process resulted in the delineation of these 10 excavation areas. So the plan to achieve a condition of no significant risk, which is the ultimate goal here, so that we can achieve a permanent solution out here, is to excavate approximately 300 cubic yards of impacted soil from these 10 excavation areas, backfill with unimpacted material to grade, restore the site with seeded mixture of native species out here, and then conduct 1 full year of monitoring of groundwater conditions to evaluate the effectiveness of the remedy. And to do the excavation, we are going to need to do a little bit of clearing work and set up some staging areas in support of the excavation. So we're proposing for the truck access to come straight off Slocum Street down this roadway, which comes right down to the southern portion of the site. And on this plan, you can see access roads kind of outlined in this black solid line. And the intention is to kind of have a main loop around the main area where we're going to be doing our clearing, mostly from this portion of the site. Get the access road in place, and then from this access road, once it's established through this loop and a few branches that are offset, we'll be able to access each of the excavation areas. We'll have a materials management area staged along the southern portion of the site, and the plan for that area is to have a laydown area where we're going to stockpile the excavated soils, let them sit there until we can arrange off-site transport. It will be laid down with poly on the ground, and at the end of each workday, all the stockpiles will be covered with poly. We'll also have effective erosion control measures in place all along the edge of the work area, as well as, at the request of the Concom, oil absorbent balloons will also be placed at the edge of the work zone, so that will help mitigate the potential migration of any water that may have sheen or other impacts from making its way down into the sensitive areas. Up here, we're going to have 2 frac tanks. The groundwater table up here is fairly shallow, and so we do expect the need to do some dewatering during each of the excavations out here. Not all of them, but some of the deeper ones. And so we're going to have 2 frac tanks on site, as well as a mobile treatment system. So the water that we do need to pump out from the excavations will be pumped right to this treatment system. It will be filtered, and then it will be stored temporarily into one of 2 frac tanks, and we will arrange for off-site transport and disposal of that water. So those are that features will be over here, and then we'll have a job trailer over here, kind of tucked behind this building here. And then there's just one little area up here that should really not impact any sensitive receptors. It's in a parking lot off plan. So I think that's the key overview of what the plan is and what we need to kind of get in place in order to conduct the work.
And from the commission?
Andrew, is there a plan for anything for matting for the access route into the deepest parts of this site remediation excavation?
Like lay down mats for the trucks? Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they'll likely will need to do some of that just because it'll be wet and muddy.
And I guess my concern is because of the groundwater is high there, with all of the truck trafficking, machines, equipment coming in, the risk factor of that groundwater coming up from all that heavy equipment. I think some type of a matting to be applied for these, for this access. I would like to see something for a plan for that. I also would like to see some type of a plan for staging area for these vehicles in case of something catastrophic to happen, an oil spill, a fuel spill, with the spill kits.
So I think what he's saying regarding the parking is that just don't park real close to the site, you know what I mean? So we need to designate it, maybe it's where they could get the good,
Yeah, this
Right.
whole.
Yeah,
plenty of area.
yeah, so there's plenty of area there.
And this is actually the, sorry, I didn't mention this, but this is the decon pad, so this is, so the trucks will come in, access the site through this path, and then they're gonna leave the site and go through the decon pad before they leave the site.
Beautiful, beautiful. The mats, I think no matter what you're gonna have to put them, I really think you are gonna end up with a wet, messy site.
Some
I mean, we both know that. I know that you're, which I think is excellent. You guys are looking to do most of this at low tide, which I think you're gonna have to anyways. So I think with all being said and what we went over, I think we're in very good shape. So what I'd like to do is, read off the conditions, the special conditions. You also have the conditions in the rule conditions. So let me read off these and
Mr. Chairman,
Go
at this
ahead.
point, do you test constantly as the excavation is being completed to see the margins of the contamination?
No, that's why we
I
did
was
the
just wondering.
pre-characterization work already in situ to fully understand where the excavation limits need to go.
Okay. All right.
Okay, before I say anything else, anyone from the public would like to speak on this? All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Go right ahead.
and that's something I'd like to elaborate a little bit on. I understand that you guys did your scientific measures, right? It's not 100% guarantee. Me, myself, I would feel a little bit more comfortable having an engineer on site while the excavation exhumes, right? And have him do some testing throughout the excavation, especially in that corner area where the cat o' nine tails were, the body of water right there. We're on top of that like there's no tomorrow. I would feel 100% comfortable knowing that someone there, as a professional, is testing these soils, every 15, 20 feet. I don't know how deep you guys are presuming to go there.
Well, we've put many borings, if I should
Right.
have.
No, that's understandable.
Let me
Yeah.
say
It is.
too,
But I will-
that this
yeah.
has been scrutinized by EPA. All the conformatory samples that we took, and we took hundreds, if not thousands, around every excavation. It's all run through DEP and EPA with the heavy scrutiny. So it's not just up to us,
Right.
we feel it's.
And that's why, Ms. Kelly, we add to these special conditions for the comfort level of what is going to happen on this. So you've got to understand that from our,
Yeah, it just logistically, it takes samples as we go. It's like a 2-week turnaround on every.
right.
So one thing I'd like to say is, I've worked in marine construction my whole life. I've done a lot of contaminated evacuations and excavations and everything else. When they do these, they're within, there ain't no, they test it so much, they know within an inch, and then usually, is there an overdig?
There's no
Are you guys going with an overdig? How much of an overdig do you
Right,
know?
I would imagine.
We are gonna have to over excavate it slightly to establish a slope, a safe slope to work with.
Sure.
Also, I will say that we will absolutely be on site full time. We're gonna have a handheld monitor called the photo ionization detector, or PID for short, which measures volatile contaminants in the air. And we will be monitoring the excavation areas at all times with that unit, which will help guide, impacts for volatiles and petroleum constituents that we're dealing with out here are very highly volatile. It won't measure for the metals, but they're co-located in many areas.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, What do you anticipate the depth of the deepest excavation?
sure.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so the main area of impact is right over here.
Yeah.
And this is where the deepest excavation is gonna happen, and this one as well is also going down to about 9 feet or so.
Okay.
So these two areas.
Okay.
That upper right corner, that was where the wetlands were, Andrea?
Yeah, the
Right,
one's over
so,
here. The deepest
yeah.
one's number 1.
Okay.
This one's not so deep. but-
Number 5 is the worst, right?
Number 5.
Number, oh, sorry.
How deep, Jimmy?
9 feet.
9 feet?
Yes, that's
Okay.
anticipated, yeah.
That's with the overdig?
Well, yeah, well, yeah. And
Yeah.
then you gotta slope
That's the final thing, then they gotta slope it.
You gotta have, right, same slope.
So,
These other little excavation areas are shallower. Some are only 6 inches down.
Oh, wow.
And then while you are excavating and everything, we are gonna be removing some of the wells, correct?
Some of the wells will be destroyed during the excavation, so we're going to actually properly decommission them in advance of that.
Beautiful.
And we are going to replace the key ones that we will need to continue to monitor the effect.
Awesome. All right, with that,
I've got one
get
more.
right ahead, Matt.
It's a real non-technical one. I think it's the crossing guard and coming out maybe. When we drove out of the lot, I don't know what the thrift store that's in there.
Gifts to give.
Yeah, but it was, I mean, I don't know if you've already anticipated that, oh, okay, so you have a way
No,
in.
there's,
Okay.
right,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
complete, yeah,
All right, so that was an easy one.
right.
That's a good point.
All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read off the special conditions. Number 1, erosion measures for areas designated as 5, 7, and 8 shall include straw wattles, properly installed siltation fencing with fabric buried attached to posts and oil absorbent socks. Once all erosion controlled measure, number 2, once all erosion control measure in place, the applicant shall contact the conservation agent and the commission to schedule a follow-up inspection to ensure that the erosion controls are in place and properly installed. This inspection shall happen prior to the beginning of remedial work on site. Number 3, the applicant shall provide copies of any final or interim reports given to the town of Acushnet related to the project and its outcomes. The applicant should provide the Conservation Commission and the agent with specific details related to the contaminant systems employed by the vehicles that will be used to transport materials off-site for disposal. So, with that being said, I'd like to,
So I've got, Andrea, I have to recuse myself from voting on this, okay, because I do work for the Acushnet company. So I just wanted to disclose that.
okay, with that being said, I don't have a quorum. We have 7 members. So I got 2 out, he has to excuse himself. So I only have 3, I do not have a quorum.
I need to sign a waiver to be able to vote, and then it has to go before the commission and before the selectmen and town administrator.
I got a phone call just before the meeting that one of the guys wasn't coming.
I'm just finding this out, so.
So what we can do, we did read off the special conditions, which we'll have to read them off again. So what I'm gonna do is I'll entertain a motion that we continue this to the May 28th meeting. We don't have to publicize or anything, we'll be good with that? If that sounds all right with you, okay, I'll entertain the motion, May 28th.
So moved.
Do I get a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Appreciate your time.
yeah, no, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, it triggered the bell.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for letting us know, instead of going through what we did last
Good.
time. All right. So now, okay. Public hearing, NOI stormwater, town of Acushnet, James. All right. Town of Acushnet, James Kelly, 0 Slocum Street, SE 001-0603. What? Yeah, yeah, I said after the 2. Yeah, no, I said after the 2. Well, now you guys are really killing it. All right. Public hearing, NOI and Stormwater, Town of Acushnet, James Kelly, 0 Slocum Street, SE 001-0603. A notice of intent was filed by James Kelly, Town of Acushnet, for property located at 0 Slocum Street, map 25, lot 108. The applicant proposes to construct a 36-inch diameter stormwater outfall to connect from a proposed manhole within the Riverside ROW in the Acushnet River shoreline. Portions of the work will occur within Fish Run land under the ocean bank, coastal bank, associated 100 feet buffer zone, BLSF and riverfront area. The applicant is represented by Claire Hogabon?
Hogabon.
Hogabon. All right. LEC Environmental Consultants Incorporated. Plan name is Slocum Street Infrastructure Improvement Project and Stormwater Drainage Memorandum. Dated April 8, 2024. Review of the matters presented. Votes may be taken. I'd like to entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open public hearing.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So yours.
All right, for the record, Claire Hogabone, wetland scientist with LEC Environmental Consultants. As you summarized, this is a notice of intent for the construction of a 36-inch diameter stormwater outfall at 0 Slocum Street, just on the Acushnet River shoreline. So the commission members may recall that a year ago we were before you for a request for determination of applicability. The commission issued a negative determination for the entire footprint of the Slocum Street Infrastructure Improvement Project, as only a portion of that was within riverfront area. So really, you see the plans having a lot of work going on, but what we're really talking about is just this little section right here. So just to give a little more context, some detailed plans sort of show where the RDA project footprint originally stopped here. This notice of intent footprint is just going to continue from the terminus of that RDA footprint and install the outfall to the shoreline at the parking lot at 0 Slocum Street. And I'm just going to shift to this sheet that has it just more zoomed in on our notice of intent work here. So the intent of this separate phase of this infrastructure improvements project is to replace an existing 12-inch diameter outfall that's essentially discharging stormwater right against the bridge itself. There's another 24-inch diameter stormwater outfall underneath the bridge. So this 36-inch diameter culvert would be installed beneath the parking lot and out daylight right at the riprap along the Acushnet River shoreline. You summarized all the wetland resource areas that the project will result in temporary impacts to. So ultimately, this work will occur with the contractor excavating a trench. That'll be 6, I want to make sure I don't say feet if I mean inches. Yes, 6 inches or 6 feet wide by 10 feet deep. They'll install 12 inches of crushed stone, 36-inch diameter pipe, and then backfill with all of the suitable material, and then repave everything above it. So it'll all be back to pre-existing conditions following completion of work. The end of the outfall will be cut to an angle to be within the riprap, so all the riprap will be taken out and then replaced around the outfall, and some medium to coarse sands will be placed in the cracks and crevices of the riprap, and some salt marsh plants will be planted in there because there are some shrub vegetation in that area. So, you know, it's an effort to sort of restore some vegetation within that footprint without compromising the culvert and the infrastructure there with any hard root systems. The work footprint will be encompassed with silt socks and erosion controls. We also have some temporary work within land underwater identified in our application, and that's only for the installation of a cofferdam and turbidity curtains to prevent any sedimentation within the river itself during the work. And that will be removed following the completion of work and stabilization of the site. Work below coastal bank will comply with the time of year restrictions provided by DMF. We did not receive a specific response from DMF, but I understand the commission has many other filings along the Acushnet River with the same mapped fish, so perhaps we could utilize that same time of year restriction.
Yeah, until we, and I think Lake Street just, it's April 1st through June
15th.
Yeah, June 15th, I believe.
But, I mean, I imagine that's what, one of the things that DMF would provide, yeah.
So I'm open to what the commission's comfortable with, whether you want to close to issue something with language that we comply with DMF and the order of conditions is issued once they provide those comments, or we could continue to provide the comments, whatever the commission's comfortable with. We also had the site visit on Saturday, so thank you all for joining for that. I was informed that EPA has asked to be notified of any work occurring within the Acushnet River shoreline. So Mr. Minton kindly provided contact information on Monday, and I emailed that person shortly thereafter, and they replied that they're happy to be notified of the project. They offered some recommendations that anything seaward of our riprap has essentially been cleaned up through their Superfund cleanup efforts. They have not previously tested the riprap itself, so they recommended that we test the riprap for PCBs, yes, thank you. Just to ensure that if they need to be, anything needs to be trucked off-site or disposed of in a different manner than what we would otherwise. So we'll take that into consideration and open to a special condition from the commission to consider that as well.
I enjoyed the walk. The site visit was great. We had a couple issues that it looked like they took care of right away, which was very nice. The soil's gone, the pile of gravel's gone. My biggest concern is where, of course, after we pull this riprap back, what's there, right? So they're thinking that there might be PCBs, there might even be oils, there might be metals, we're really not sure, right? So I really think that instead of just taking it in consideration, I feel that that should be sampled.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm not, that's just among myself,
agree.
right? I'm only speaking for myself here, but I think we should, and even while digging that trench, right, 10 foot, you're gonna be within the tide zone, you're gonna be within the tide water at 10 foot deep, right? So I think it's pretty certain that we should definitely have even a couple borings through the trench area, just to make sure that it is clear, you know, and you're not gonna run into a surprise. So one thing you don't wanna do is open this trench up, and then all of a sudden you get a big surprise, now what do we do, right? And especially if you're bailing contaminated materials that you didn't know were contaminated until you get a little further deeper. So my own personal opinion, I think that we should take and go by the recommendations of the EPA and have this tested prior to even going through the order of conditions. Let's get that step done. But that's my own personal opinion. Mark, you got something to say on that?
No, I mean, I think it's prudent to, you know, if there's gonna be, you're gonna run into any contamination, you do wanna know about it before you run into it if you can, so.
Would you be open to a special condition that requires testing be done before the work starts, and we would provide that information to the Conservation Commission, like as a special condition of this order?
I'd add that to a special condition.
Okay.
Yeah.
So actually, where, you got the order condition there, Mark? Joanne, you're writing it? That it gets put down on
I'm
the,
taking notes.
you offer a new special condition?
Mr. Chairman, if I may. And Claire, I do agree with the chairman on this, based on the history with the river, the land that surrounds the river, risk probability is pretty high here. You know, let's play it safe. The other thing, Claire, I took a ride by there this morning and noticed a piece of equipment up on that upper right side on top of the parking lot. There's a piece of equipment that's staged there. I don't know if it's a generator, if it's a pump, or what it is that concerns me.
Okay.
It's a piece of equipment that uses oil, that uses fuel. I think that it needs to be addressed. And I won't go into detail on that.
Okay,
Because of the elevation where this site is located, everything runs down into the river as we saw on the site visit, right? I think we're best to try to stay away from that as much as possible on staging equipment up on that top side of that parking lot.
you're talking about at the intersection of Slocum and River
Yes.
Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just so you know, we know it's the contractor, not you. It ain't like you're over there doing it.
But I know who to talk to, so.
Exactly,
Correct.
exactly.
Rather than me stopping there and, I felt it would be best to let you know what I saw. And I would like to see it either relocated, contained somehow. God forbid if there is something, again, catastrophic that should happen with that piece of equipment, and everything goes down through the parking lot into the river,
Okay.
okay?
So,
Appreciate it.
with that being said, Claire, I think we can do this on the conditions. So we're gonna be looking for, how long is that trench total in length?
It should be about 145 feet, from, the river to this manhole, and then an extra 20 feet to connect to the,
I mean, maybe we can do a test pit right at the edge of the riprap, and then come up 50, and then come up another 50, and call it good. I mean, I don't think we're gonna go crazy, but if we do 3 spots, it's kind of gonna tell us what's there, and part of the condition, you gotta get back to us immediately when you get the response. Nothing else can start until this is done.
okay.
And with that going forward, so we're gonna have the standard conditions. With this, I'd like to also put a condition that oil booms get used also, especially at the river edge. Oil sausages, oil booms. And are they gonna put a boom in the water offset to give it a little crown outside with a silk curtain on it?
I'm not certain of that.
Yeah. So usually, there's like a boom and a silk curtain, probably a 4 or 5, whatever it's gonna take to reach the rock's edge. I think that should be out front
Okay,
of the work, especially because now that'll catch anything that might slip in while they're working.
okay.
And I mean, by the looks at it, a 150 foot of length would probably do it, make a little horseshoe right in front of it, and have it come up to the 2 shore sides. So we got the boom with silk curtain on it. We get the 3 borings. The 3 borings will be first, we'll be notified what happens. And then we're gonna go by the order of conditions in the rules and regs, the specific, not the specific ones, the general laws, the standard rules. Any other specific that we're looking for?
So we talked about, and I guess this is the borings or whatever, but testing the riprap per Dave Dickerson's EPA's recommendation. And we're gonna wait. Hopefully you'll hear back from DMF and get a formal letter of any comments that they have. I got the oil booms. Have you spoken with Army Corps of Engineers? I don't know if there's any in-water work at all.
Not yet, but with the new outfall into a tidal river, it's gonna require a general permit.
All right, so that's still pending and that's.
I don't think we're getting started anytime,
No.
like in the very near future.
Well, we got anyhow till June 15 likely, we're gonna get a time of year restriction from DMF for river clearing. I'd like to talk with you at some point, like in terms of the specifics of testing the soil, like what are we looking for, you know? I mean, I don't know, it would be nice to provide some guidance. I mean, there must be a standard suite of when you're testing for metals, volatiles.
Yeah, we could work with Dave Dickerson at EPA and see what he would recommend based on what they were finding in the river in close proximity.
That would be good.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay.
So if we all keep this together and work together, and you know, and definitely when you get back to the Army Corps, you're gonna need a permit with that, we're gonna want the permit,
Yep.
or at least a copy of it.
Absolutely.
Anything you receive, we're gonna want a copy of. So with that being said, I think that we could take in, run it through under the standard conditions. Our special conditions will be emailed you tomorrow
Okay.
from Mark. Is that all right, Mark? Can you email them tomorrow, or you need one more day?
Friday.
Friday?
Friday's better.
All right, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right, so with that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion that we accept the order of conditions on the contingencies that have been spelt out and go forward.
Make that motion?
She already did, second it?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All set?
All right.
I'd like to entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I am so sorry. Is there anyone from the public here? I am sorry, we got involved with
No,
this.
that's okay.
Anyone from the public here for Slocum Street, Outfall? We're all set?
Okay, great.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
All right. You all set?
What?
Yeah. Everything, you're all set though? Good, okay. Okay, a request for an amended order of condition. Applicants in Copper Park Drive LLC owner White's Farm Incorporated off Park Drive, SE 0010553. A request for an amendment to an existing order of condition was filed by St. Copper Park Drive LLC for property located off Park Drive, map 17, lot 22B 13. The applicant proposes to install a solar photovoltaic array consisting of 4999 kilowatts and battery storage project within the 100-foot buffer zone to the bordering vegetated wetlands. Divisions include wetland crossing areas and wetland flagging. The applicant is represented by Matthew Connors of Weston and Sampson Engineering. Plan name is Park Drive Solar PV, development dated December 10th, 2020, revised plans dated March 20th, 2025. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. I'd like to entertain a motion to open.
Motion to open?
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Good evening, thank you, Jeff Roloffs, I'm outside counsel to Sincarfa. Thank you for deferring the discussion on this, so Matt Connors had time to get here. Matt's here, and we have two representatives from Sincarfa with us also. At our first hearing, the commission agreed to proceed with the hearing, subject to us providing proof of mailing after that hearing and before tonight. Sarah has been working with Joanne, we've provided those materials, I think we're all set on that front. We also submitted a couple of the individual documents that were included in that large packet that I asked Matt to provide to you because they were kind of buried in there. I think they were focused on the wetland delineation that was done last fall and just the evidence that Brad Holmes, the peer reviewer for the commission, was part of the process to reach a consensus on the updated wetland line, which are the flags that are included in the plans in front of you. So we're here tonight to continue the discussion. That's my little intro. I'll turn it over to Matt, but I think we're here primarily to talk to the commission, discuss any questions that you have, and let's move the process forward. Thank you.
So I brought my plans, if you want to review anything, or if there's anything specific you want to dive into.
I don't need the plans. I don't know if anyone from the public would like to see the plans, or should we put them so they're up?
Yeah, I think.
And we didn't bring our tripod. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I'll give you the one that looks at the areas that we are making most of our changes to. Let's go. Yeah. So as a refresher for everybody, at the end of 2024, we went through and looked at reflagging all these areas. This indicated three general areas of change. One is the central solar field, which this new flagging caused this field to shrink. We lost about 15 solar panels. Detention basin pushed to the west, I believe, yes. And then the major change is here, where we're crossing a wetland. We were previously proposing to fill that wetland to get across. We're now proposing to install two bridges. And then the last area is over here on the southern solar field, where the wetland line changed a little bit, but really didn't change the field at all. And then just to remind everybody that this is under a separate OOC, but as we look at the overall impacts, we're still looking at both of the border conditions together. Anything specific you want to touch on? Benefits. Sure.
So we got a couple things. Anyone from the audience would like to speak on this? Okay. We had a couple things going on here, right? I know that when we were out in the field, the wetland flags are crazy out there. They really are. And there was some newer ones that I didn't see when I was out there in October, and it was just really crazy. Then I also started going through all your emails back and forth. So then I said, well, you know something. As I read the emails, there was a lot of he said, she said kind of thing in it. It was two attorneys talking more than I think it was really everyone else talking. So I called Brad Holmes. Brad sent me a little email, and I think I'd like to read the whole thing. And it kind of gave me a little bit of thoughts about everything that's going on. And it says here, I'm copying Bill Madden at GAF Engineering in this email. Regarding the site plans, I recommend that we eliminate the two wetland line scenario. There is only one wetland line limit. The wetland line limit is the landward line we receive together in the field. Take off the old wetland lines that are confirmed as inaccurate, which has no meaning and are part of the BVW. Also, reference to the approved BVW line should just be BVW per 310 CMFR 1055, not Brad's lines. Once the plan is updated, I recommend that the final line should be staked or flagged in the field. Remove the old flags in the field, which are confusing, and will be a problem if a project moves forward. They could keep my pink and black striped flags I set in the field, which were for a guardian for the wetland delineations on where the accurate limit of the BVW line, the BVW is in the field. As I remember, I posted a dozen or more flags and as referenced during our site walks. So I'm going to stop there and then I'll read the rest of this. So when we were out there that Saturday, Devin kept saying that Brad only put 2 or 3 flags. So she kept saying 2, 3, maybe 4, and I'm like, no. There was a lot more because I went for that October walk. Me, Mark, Brad Holmes, and Devin, and it was some other girl too. I didn't remember her name. And I was Megan, there you go, okay. So we were out there, and there was a lot of argument going back and forth between the 3 of them. So
Are you talking about during this last sidewalk?
The one in October. The one in October.
There was a lot of debate last fall. I totally can see that. Yeah.
Correct. So with that being said, as we walked out there, I only found 3 pink and black flags of Brad's that was exactly, or the BVW flags, that was exactly together with your flags. That was kind of crazy to me because I know we set a lot more flags with that than that. So I'm really still not set on what's going out there. I'm really not. I mean, when we're walking around with a GPS, or this flag is this and this flag is that, I'm really confused out there. And I don't like it. I didn't like it from day one. And even the very first time I ever went out there, when I was just on the board, I said that. How can you be showing us old flags, these flags, those flags, and let us sit back and say, okay, we got an understanding of this. So even when I went out there Saturday, seeing the black and pink flags gone, except for 3 of them, I'm saying to myself, people remove flags. Then when we come around the area and I saw all the red flags, I said, those weren't out in October, and those were all new. And what was told to me, no, them are old. And I said, the writing on them is fresher than the ones in October. So I was extremely confused with the wetlands, and I brought it up, the flagging last time.
So-
And I know that you said, oh, there's the BR flags, there's these flags, there's those flags. So once again, when I open those plans, there shouldn't be BR flags, there shouldn't be any flags, there should be the flags, period. And I felt that it was very, very confusing, and I'm speaking for myself. I don't know how the commission felt, but I will go to them in a second. And my own opinion, and this is my opinion, that all the flags get taken down. They walk with our peer review, with your engineers, and set it once and forget it. This stuff of changing them and moving them prior to each other is just insane. I just can't figure out where we are on the site. And not only where we are, we need some of the GPS, oh, even though that's this one, this is where we are. And I'm trying to pull it up on a phone, and it was just brutal, so.
Can I, did Brad have any issues with the figure that was associated with the email that was sent around?
So when I sent him all the emails, he said some of them he didn't reply in that manner, and that's all he said. So-
because there was the graphic that we showed, all the points on there, which is basically, it's these, which I blew up so we could compare what's going on. But this is directly out of that figure. And from that email, it was choose the more landward side of the two lines that were out there.
Correct.
And that's where this information comes from.
Correct.
So if Brad's okay with that figure, I have all the GPS points. I can have somebody go out, take out all the flagging that's out there, rehang the flagging based upon the landward.
The only thing I would like is I would like for our peer review to be there with them. Because you wouldn't believe the argument those three were having. Mark, am I correct? It was so bad, I had to tell them, we're not here to fight, we're here to figure out where the wetlands are.
So I can have our survey crew go out there, relocate every single one based upon the GPS points that we
That
already
ain't what I
have.
asked. I asked that peer review go with them, they work together as a team. Because,
So you want to redelineate everything?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. I
That
don't
ain't
think,
what I
I don't think that's what
said.
he's asking for. I
Okay.
think what you want is Brad to confirm, so you want it, let's clean it up in the field.
Yeah.
yep,
Put the flags in that are the final approved flags that Brad agreed to before, and then you want him to go out and confirm that these are correct.
or do it together, well, they're
Right,
putting
do
the
it
flag
together,
out,
yeah.
to put it in, because he's gonna do a
It's not
boring.
redelineating them, it's putting the flags where they were previously placed
Yep.
and getting rid of the old ones,
Okay.
because it's too confusing.
It is.
And in the field, have Brad review it and say, yes, this is the right location.
But the thing I wanna do is I want Brad to be able to put his auger into the ground and say that this flag shouldn't be here, it should be either there, or to say, yes, this is where it belongs.
So you want to redelineate it?
But if you're right where everything is, it's not being redelineated.
It shouldn't change.
That's what I'm saying, it shouldn't change.
So
So as long as everyone confirms that these are all good flags,
I
and,
don't have a problem with that. I'm thinking logistically. So what's going through my head right now is I have to get a survey crew out there with a GPS, and if you want Brad to sit there and tag along with them as they go, and then it gets a little bit.
or you have them all put up and then we'll ask Brad to go at
So
back.
what
after.
what I'm contemplating is like, can I have a crew go out there, remove all the flags that are there, go in and GPS all the flags based upon the figure that everybody's agreed to, and then have Brad go back out there. I'll go with Brad, I can have my, whoever will have representation from, but we can go through and we can confirm everything that was GPS located is where Brad identified it. Is that,
Acceptable.
is that, and you feel free to come. Yes.
Yeah, so Brad would have the GPS points.
Should, right?
No, he didn't.
No?
He
Well, I'm
probably
saying-
never did it. Because our survey crew
Right.
did the survey work. So our survey crew, he put flags in the field. He put more than a few. He had a lot of flags out there. He actually went out once on his own. We didn't even know he was going, and he put other flags out there. But we had a lot of back and forth. Our consultants disagreed on a lot of the delineation. That is exactly why we wanted to go through that effort in the fall, was because we're designing bridge work based on where these are, so we wanted to get it done right there. So in the end, we accepted Brad's flags. That was the accepted line, but we had our own flags in other locations, so it is totally confusing. We can straighten this out for sure. What you've proposed is fine. He doesn't have the survey points that we do, but we can get the correct flags in, and if his flag is still in that location, we'll just keep it there, right? So he can say, oh yeah, that's my flag, you know what I mean?
Pink and black was the only flags that Brad put out there. All the rest are different colors.
So I'll tell the guys to leave the pink and black, but let's get rid of everything else, and let's just go through, and I'll hang, and we're referring to this area, right? We're not referring to.
Yeah, just the area that's.
Because the northern area, nothing's changed
Yeah.
at all, so.
All right, so let me continue though.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking, like you were bringing up logistically, what's easiest, having your survey crew go out and then Brad Holmes follow up. I just, and maybe I'm just totally missing something here, but it might, if he doesn't, he's not geo-referencing. I just think it might be best to have him go out with the crew while they're doing it.
With
Right.
the survey crew.
Right, because he's gonna be out there, it's a big site, there's lots of flags, and I'm just thinking out loud, I don't have a real strong feeling, but it's, how's he going to? You
Well,
have
the
the
flags will be
geo-rec-
numbered.
Yeah, you have they'll be numbered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he
they're gonna
still
put out
can
different
have,
second
he
flags.
still
It's the same
doesn't-
numbering that's on the sheet, so that everything's consistent. We'll just remove what's out there and reflag everything.
Just have Brad go to every flag in that area.
I understand the suggestion, just in dealing with Brad before, my sense is he doesn't like to spend any more time out in these areas than he has to. Like, he's always told us, like, have things ready to go, so I can get out there and walk it. I don't wanna be, doing this and doing that.
That's what I'm saying, if you
So
get
I
it
think we wanna
flagged,
get the survey.
and then we
flags
send
on
in the
there.
flag, and Brad might skip a few flags too.
Right.
Which I have no problem with, like if he says, hey, these are all following, I'm gonna skip two, go to that one, I have no issues with that. I just think if we do go forward with this, that it should be done.
Yeah, okay.
And my survey crews are grumpy, so.
It was real bad, it was real ugly, it was ugly, and that's all I'm gonna say.
All right, but we did work through those issues. You're
We did,
correct. There
we
was a
did.
lot of contention. We worked through them. It took a
Yep.
few months.
They were
But we
working
did.
on your behalf.
We reached a
Yeah.
consensus and we're working with the consensus.
Okay,
we're
so now I'm
past
gonna continue
the
with
history there.
what else Brad has to say.
Okay, so this site being the site of this stature, we'll say, we've been out there a few times. I'd like to make it the last time that we have the opportunity to go out there, whether we do or not. This is a large site. This was like an ultimate treasure hunt, looking at all these flags in the field and nobody knew what was going on. We have better things to do on a Saturday afternoon for 4.5 hours than walking up this site again. It should have been flagged correctly the first time. This should have been a no-brainer. When we went out there and all these flags appeared, that the site be cleaned up, officially flagged with the one flag, and call it done. We're a voluntary committee. And this kind of, is sticking with me a little bit. This is a lot of walking on that site. An oversight maybe, but it definitely needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah, it wasn't really an oversight as much as I think what we had in our minds was this is an amendment process, right? So we thought you may want to know, and if this wasn't possible, there was too much confusion, it sounds like. In some settings though, it's like, here's the old line, here's the adjusted line. You might want to see both. So both are, but there was more going on than just that. So I get the confusion, I apologize. Do you want to do a site walk after Brad confirms the line? Or decide that later?
We'll decide that later, let's see what Brad says. So
Yep.
moving forward, I continued reading the email that Brad sent me, and I'd like to continue reading it so everyone here on the board knows exactly what I received. It says, regarding the pictures of the bridges, these look nice, and I assume they are providing these pictures as reference to what they are proposed for wetland crossing. We would need to see a site design to include calculations of wetland disturbance, Proposed bridges would have permanent and temporary alterations to BVWs, so those areas should be included in any wetland alteration calculations to include how the bridges would be constructed, swamp matting, construction methodology, shading impacts, number of trees to be removed. Then update replication plans would be needed, etc. I assume this type of proposal will be submitted as an NOI application with a copy to the DEP, copy to the NHESP, etc. If you need us to get involved further, please let us know. Additional service proposals prepared, feel free to contact Brad Holmes. So, that really brought my attention to the wetlands at the bridges. So, which is part of the amendment, correct?
Correct.
The bridges are the amendment. So then what I did, I called up the circuit rider and he says, Jimmy, I want you to go and read the Wetlands Program Policy 85-4 Amendment Orders. I don't know if you guys have read this?
We attached it to our package. We went through the provisions of that policy in that big package that confused you. But that's one of the reasons we submitted it, was so you understood that this process here, this amendment process, was being pursuant to that policy. And in it, it gives you the factors to consider in determining whether or not it's appropriate to review these modifications as minor modifications. So in Matt's letter, supplemental letter that had all those exhibits, in the letter he goes through the factors one by one and explains why we think it's appropriate to review these proposed changes pursuant to the amendment policy.
So here's the issue that I won't even read off the amendment, the conditions to have an amendment. I mean, to my personal opinion, I think this is more than a minor. I think it's a major. You're not proving to me that the wetlands disturbance is less because you're not giving us any indication of what you're going to disturb building it. So we have no idea. You're not telling us if any research was done on the shading of the bridge, if that's going to impact the wetlands at all. I know that the piles are going to be driven. You guys are using CCA piles. They're going to be driven. I know when I walked across the wetlands where the bridges are going, and you actually pointed it all out, there's huge boulders. With that being said, we don't know what they're going to do when they hit an obstruction. Are they going to dig it out? Are they going to remove it? Are they going to drill it? What if you hit ledge? There's just no information for me to feel good about saying this is definitely lessen the impact of the proposed work. I know that you guys are saying that, well, before we propose to fill it. Well, filling it is cut and dry. We know exactly what you're doing to the wetlands. We know exactly what's happening. With this bridges and your request for this amendment, I just think there is just nowhere near enough information on these bridges, the impacts of it, or anything going forward that's going to make me say, I feel that this should be an amended order. I think it is really a large asking for a minor change. It's not a minor change.
Well, let's get you the information you're hungry for, and then let's make that decision. Because what I'm hearing from you is, you're not viewing this as minor because you don't even know yet what the impacts are. So we haven't done our case, we haven't proven our case that these are minor because we haven't given you enough information to understand what they are.
Right, we have zero
Yeah.
information.
Well,
Well, no, even the bridges on the plans, it says will be determined later by an engineer.
there are a lot of open issues for sure.
I know, and I know you can't get the engineered plans, I guess, because they won't give them to you unless you sign a contract or whatever is what was said last time, right? Well, that ain't my problem, I hate to say it. We really need to know what you're asking, because I'm gonna tell you, if we say, okay, here's a signature, you get the amendment order, you guys can walk out this door and do whatever you want. And that's what I don't want. I wanna know everything that's going on, what's gonna happen, and how does this affect the impact further down the line, right down to the shadowing,
Okay.
you know? So I think there's a lot of open issues that need to be closed before we even, you know, I guess, vote on it. I mean, I'm not sure if we should continue it. I would have to put it to a motion to see how they want to handle this, whether we continue this or we vote on the amended order now.
Well, it sounds to me, I mean, I'm gonna urge the commission to continue it and give us the opportunity to present the information you're asking for, so you can make an informed decision. I don't think it makes sense to, where you're telling me you don't have enough information. I hope the commission won't vote that these impacts are too significant to be considered as part of an amendment process. Because what you're saying is you don't know yet. Yeah.
I think a continuance
Yeah.
makes sense here.
So what,
So that being said, I'll forward the motion to continue this.
Could I just ask one question before we get into a motion?
yeah, don't push it.
We've heard from you, Mr. Chairman, but we haven't heard from the other members. So is there additional information that those members would want to see, so that when we come back, we can have hopefully everything answered for you guys?
Myself, I'm in agreement with Jimmy. I mean, otherwise I feel we'd be going into this blindly and agreeing to the amendment without enough information. I really don't.
And I just want to make sure that we're going to give you everything you need, so the next time we come down here, we don't have these issues, and we can make sure
Let's
that your
continue
questions
going
are
out
answered.
here and call us at the end.
Hold on a second. Matt?
So, I know, Matt, you prepared a memo where you laid out why you believe it's a minor.
Yep.
It qualifies under the minor, and I think one of the things that Jim is saying, and I hear other folks are saying, is there's not enough information to agree or disagree as to whether this new proposal is reducing impacts. And so I think the bridge is a major one.
Meeting the criteria.
And we can look through what your write-up and see if there's anything else. I mean, I'll try to pull anything else out that might be, I think that's the big one, I think. So, I don't know if that adds anything to the discussion, but.
Joanne, so I know we got the 11th, I'm not putting it on the 11th, do what someone's after.
You got, May 28th, June 11th, June 25th.
June 25th, can be all right
Jeff,
with
it's
you?
not gonna take you guys some time to do this.
I think it's gonna take a little time.
Do you want longer than June? I don't
June
mind.
25th makes sense to
June
me.
25th would be fine.
We're meeting with the planning board, just so you know, we're meeting with the planning board in early June. They're making a decision as to whether they need to do a public hearing, which I'm assuming they probably will want to. So that process is gonna get started, just so you know, and the residents know. That starts at the first planning board meeting in June.
But you take the 11th, but we want, we're requesting already what they want to see. So can you guys share with us exactly verbatim what you would
I
like?
think he was just writing every single
Oh,
thing down.
he was, but it'd be nice for the commission to share it, so
Were
we're
you
on the
writing it
same
down,
page.
Joanne?
Or if we can get a copy of Brad's email, I mean, we heard you, and if we could get his email, I'd be interested in just being able to see that anyways.
Would you like?
It's fine. I don't need to take it right now. I'll get it from Joanne or Mark later.
And,
Yeah.
when are you issuing the meeting minutes for today?
I can't do minutes right now, so we're gonna have to work off our notes together.
Can I just get photocopies of your notes?
We'll produce the meeting minutes. There's software we can plug the recording in.
Yeah, it's easy.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, we'll get the minutes.
Did you say June 11th is not available?
June 11th, I am so booked right now, I am not taking nothing on.
So it's either May 28th or June 25th.
No, it ain't even May 28th.
No?
No, no,
All
no.
right, June 25th.
25. So June 25th.
What's
If
that?
you wanted to do the.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
why don't you, like Mr. Rowland was saying, I would think a little bit further out.
Yeah, I mean, I would request a continuance to June 25th.
You think that'll work?
I think that we can make that.
If not, we can always throw a
If
continuance for
not, we
another
will
month.
submit another
Okay,
continuance request.
so why don't I do this? Let's entertain a motion to do a continuance on this for June 28th,
June 25th.
June 25th.
Motion to continue this to June 25th.
Do I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we may be at the other location, just to let people know.
Yeah,
We'll
thank
let
you.
them know.
We'll count.
And just as a procedural note, we have 2 members missing tonight. It would be great if they could review the tape and stay eligible to
Nope.
participate.
Yeah.
No? Oh, you don't have that?
Those two, oh, no, those.
We only
two
have
are-
one member
Yeah.
that's not out today, the other 2 backed out. They're no longer on the, well, they're putting their letters in now.
So you have, I'm sorry, just to be clear then, so you have 5 active members right
Yeah.
now?
Right now, yes.
Okay, so in order to issue an order, you need three
members in an
three
office.
We need
Three of the
four in
five.
the positive.
4 of 7?
Yeah,
Three
it's a
of-
seven-member
three of
board.
5.
No, I think it's a majority of members in office.
That are
Right,
active.
it's
Present?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's present?
Right,
In
no,
office, so if there's 5 now.
Well, there's 7 still now.
no, there's 7 still.
They have
Nobody
not
has-
put their letters in.
Right, the letters are
So
in
you're
there.
getting 4.
Right.
That's,
And you were here when I
we'll keep
gave the
track of
last
this.
one that we
Yeah.
couldn't do them because of the Mullen rule, we couldn't vote.
Yeah.
So we'll continue this till the 25th.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. What I'm gonna do too is I'll get with Mark, we'll get that rewritten, the order of conditions. The one with the obstruction for the piles, that was mine, not Brad's, but I will send you exactly what Brad sent me.
Yeah,
so
okay.
You guys can read right off of it.
Yep.
And then we'll just make sure everything's there. If we think of anything else, or, you know, if we do, we'll just add it. So this way, everything's up front.
Yep.
And hopefully we just hit better on the next one. One other one too is the Army Corps of Engineer. I believe, she said she spoke with them on the phone.
We
So,
had a meeting with them in December.
okay, do we have paperwork on that
Followed
too?
up as well. No, we followed up with them since then.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
We met with them in December.
Yep.
And then since then, we've also started the application process, but it's not in yet because we started the meetings with the Conservation Commission.
Oh, so you're not gonna forward DP until we go?
Yeah,
to the Army
it'll
Corps.
be, the Army Corps will be a self-verification process.
Which was also.
Which I have packaged up and ready to go as soon as we get our.
Yep.
Yeah, but that'll happen.
That'll happen
After the order.
Yep. All right,
Okay, thank you.
we'll see you on the 25th.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep, we're back in order. Okay, next. Public hearing after the fact RDA, 7 Tilly Way LLC, Paul Mitchell, 7 Tilly Way. An after the fact request for determination was filed by 7 Tilly Way LLC for property located at 7 Tilly Way, map 14, lot 4K. The work consisted of removal of a historical fill piles using an excavator and dump truck. The applicant was represented by David DeBone of Schneider Dominion in
There you
Leon
go.
Incorporated. Plan name is Plan to Accommodate RDA for 7 Tilly Way, dated April 19, 2025. 29, 2025, holy crap.
Yeah, that's all right.
Review of matters presented, votes may be taken.
You're getting tired.
Dave, it's all you, buddy. Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open public hearing for 7 Tilly Way.
Do I have a second?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Second. Aye.
Aye. It's all yours, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. For the record, I'm David Vignan from Schneider Vignan Leone. I represent Paul Mitchell, who is the owner of the property for the 7 Tilly Way LLC. Paul's with us in the audience. As requested by the commission, we have filed an after-the-fact RDA seeking a negative determination for activities that took place within the buffer zone of bordering vegetated wetland. This property is located at 7 Tilly Way. As everybody knows, Paul owns a commercial business at the site. There's also a 2-bedroom mobile home to the east of the commercial building. There were historical fill piles behind the mobile home located in the backyard and towards the wetland side of the property. There was some confusion between the property owner and as well as far as the activities that occurred. The abutting property owner has an active order of conditions to the north. He approached, is friendly with my client. He approached him about taking the fill and utilizing it on his site, which he has a permit for the construction of a home. Paul did inquire whether he needed any permits from the Conservation Commission, and he was told, no, I'm on the Conservation Commission, you're all set. So he did allow him to do the work, not knowing that he needed to get a permit from the Conservation Commission, as the activity falls within the 100-foot buffer zone. It actually falls some of it within 50 feet, some of it within 100 feet. The activity did occur beyond the property line. I'm not showing where those limits are. We do not trespass and locate the disturbance limits off-site. I simply show that it is off-site because I did confirm by measuring from the mobile home in a direct line, and I got to the property line, and it's beyond that. So the plan shows erosion control to be installed along the property line and for 15 feet of fill, which was placed at the back of the property where a row of boulders exist, to be pulled off and back down virgin ground. Paul did go ahead and do that in preparation of rolling and seeding the site so we can stabilize it. I understand that the on side, there's some confusion as to whether the erosion control was placed at the right location. Our plan shows it at the property line, but he has agreed to work with the direct abutter to the north to move that line so it actually follows the limits of disturbance, which are actually mostly off his property, so that all of the area can be loamed and seeded. My understanding is that property owner will be filing or did file an RDA for the same activity. So that's a summation of what has happened. We paid the after the fact fee, which is double the normal fee. And with that being said, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, I really don't have any questions. I know we did the site visit. I know what happened there. I know we could really get elaborate into it, but I don't think it's necessary. Walking the site, Paul and the commission, we did discuss a couple of things about pulling the vehicles back off the edge of the stream, the intermittent stream. He's willing to do that. Very pleasant to talk to, very pleasant to work with us. It was a very easy going forward on that side of the property line. So, Commissioner, you guys got anything?
Dave, in your opinion, the wetlands that were disturbed, is there an approximation?
I don't believe he was actually, the activity occurred in the wetlands. It was very close to flag number 2.
Yeah.
So there was a flag line set in the field for an RDA for the septic system, I believe maybe a year and a half ago.
Yep.
So that's how this line was established on this plan. We already had it surveyed. We basically had all the survey work done. I took and did a perpendicular pace from this corner about 65 feet north, and I got to right about where flag 2 is. So I don't, and then from there, the activity kind of pulls in a southeasterly direction, and the wetlands pull in a northeasterly. So the activity sort of pulls away from, so that's your pinch point, right between flags 2 and 3. It didn't appear to me that the work is actually in the wetlands, but maybe very close.
Encroached.
Yes, sir. Okay. But we didn't survey it, so I can't say with certainty.
Right.
Anyone from the audience on 7 Tully's Way? All right, so with that being said, I'm gonna entertain a motion for a negative determination for this RDA. Do I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, next set of matters, discussions. 21 Elaine Way, cease and desist, review of matters presented, votes may be taken. So I know that they took in files for the RDA, they gave the check. I believe Joanne even sent it to the DEP, is that correct, Joanne?
Yes.
Yep, Joanne sent the RDA to the DEP. Without them being here, no one representing them, it's hard to tell them what we actually wanted or was going to do.
Excuse me. Oh, I'm here.
Kathy.
Oh, hi Kathy, how are you? Come on up. I didn't even notice you, Kathy, I'm sorry.
Catherine DeBarros, owner of 56 Hathaway Road.
Oh, that's the address of it now? They finally got a number?
That was the address they gave us.
All right, so we got 56 Hathaway Road. All right.
Yes, and we did file the after the fact RDA as of Monday.
Yep. So, my opinion going forward is that what we discussed has to be pulled back. I guess you guys are gonna share the water now and put it in the disturbed area? Is that correct? Are you taking your water and going down on their property, or are you getting new waters? How's
Yeah,
that
there was a
work?
little, I wasn't quite sure about that either. Is it?
Oh, I didn't know anything about putting them down further.
There's still have a pallet there, you can have them, I don't know, you want to do them, you know?
So if Paul's get some wattles, put some wattles out, clean that area you and I discussed. That gravel pile, I would like to just get a walkway through that stone wall that Eric built for delineation lane, so we can walk through, at least have a walk through, because right now he's got that pile so high and so far up against that stone wall that is, when the rain comes, the silt's gonna fall off, and there's no siltation fence behind it. So if we can either put siltation fence or wattle before the gravel pile gets the gap put in it. You remember when you and I?
Yeah, that.
Yep.
That's gonna, my understanding is that's gonna just be spread in that area. It's not gonna stay a pile like that.
And I understand that, but all I'm saying is, when he's doing this, pulling back, if you don't have time to spread that whole pile right away, just give us that little walkway and then give that little gap, just in case we get rain, you know what I mean, before he gets a chance to spread it or anything. If he's not gonna spread it, put the gap in. If he's gonna spread it, spread it.
Spread it.
You know what I mean? Do one or the other, but don't leave it in the pile.
Okay.
Since you did file for the RDA, you did give the check, I want Paul to be able to seed and loom immediately. So I'm gonna entertain a motion in a second for the commission to give you access to doing the work prior to receiving the RDA in hand. This way here, they can expedite him on getting the loom in, because I believe Paul's gonna let him use his property to clean it off. So I don't want him to put loom and seed down, then never go in there with an excavator. So if we can expedite that, so Paul can get his job done with the loom and everything, we're willing to let you, we'll lift the cease and desist, get that material, put the wattle in, get that material pulled back, so then Paul can continue his. I would really appreciate that.
Okay.
Are you willing to do that?
Yeah, I am. I have to get the time. I mean, how much time? I mean, like.
I mean, I think
Just 'cause I
this
know
is
he's
something
doing
Eric should be
a
able
lot
to
of
jump
work,
on pretty
so.
quick. I mean, he owns the equipment, he's right there. I mean, let's go with 7 days, a week from today, it should be done, so Paul can figure on getting loomed and seeded.
Well, I'll talk to him about that, yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
I know he's working every day, so it's like, that's really the thing that was.
Yeah, I know, but you know something, Kathy, truthfully, this was done to a neighbor who now he has expenses for Eric to get a benefit off from the fill. So if he's gonna work a little bit of extra hours or whatever to get this done in a week, so Paul can do his side of his property. Otherwise, Paul can say, no, you can't access my property, and then you guys can't get, how are you gonna do it? You ain't
My
gonna do it.
understanding it was a mutual thing. It wasn't just, stuff needed to go. He said he would take it.
Correct. The only issue
Making
is
it sound like it was just he came in and did something there.
well, the thing is, he actually said it to Paul. He's on the Conservation Commission. Eric built the stone wall.
Because he thought that he was doing what he was, that it
Well-
met the standards in his mind because it.
It's only in
felt it
his
was
mind though. Here's
maintained
someone who's
already.
on the board, who knows the rules. An intermittent stream is 100 feet. So he had no issues building a stone wall and filling up against a stone wall over there. So that was within the 100-foot area. So Eric, being on the board, should have known that this needed an RDA or needed to be looked at. So we can't go with the I didn't know because of the knowledge Eric has. And Eric does his homework.
I don't know,
I mean-
he's thought, or he said that it states that you can it's been maintained, so you can continue to maintain it. That was
Well,
what my
that wasn't-
understanding that he said was
yeah,
maintaining
but-
what they've been doing over there,
if
which
I
is.
may, in my opinion, that wasn't just maintenance, it was a disturbance. And if he looks at the 310 CMR, it clearly states that any disturbance needs to be brought to the Conservation Commission's attention. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, and we wouldn't even have been involved had we not been notified. It wasn't something that we preemptively thought we should jump into. So, again, it's basic wetlands protection is what it is. It really is.
So with that going said, is that the route we want to take and lift the cease and desist, get this work done within a week so Paul can do his thing, and then you will receive the RDA after. Well, it will have to come to another meeting to give it to you,
Right.
but this way here, it'll at least let you get the work started immediately so Paul can do his work too.
So you're saying he can use the existing
Eric?
walls, he can put those along?
He says he has a half a pallet.
The Sundown Valley is welcome to, they're covered up, there's that.
Available.
Oh, okay.
So
He knows
there's
where they
water for Eric. All you can do is go there with the
Well, I didn't know
excavator.
if we had to, you know, get some more.
I think he's got enough
There's
to
enough
handle it.
run already.
I don't know where they left,
Yeah.
but it's some.
Yeah, but he can even take yours and move your, move
If
him
you
down
got
and
it,
lower, it, right? So
Well,
he
he'd
can,
have to move them, I believe. I don't know, just looking at it, he'd have to move them to get there to pull that.
right, but
back.
what we're saying is he has a couple brand new ones, so Eric don't have to move, he can lay the brand new ones out. And then if he don't have enough, then he can use the ones on the top side and just take them down and move them. They're not hard to move, they're not too bad,
Just
right?
move 'em and then
Yep.
pull
So
back.
if you're willing to go with those conditions, and that's gonna be the conditions on the RDA, I will put it in a motion that the cease and desist gets lifted, and we allow the work to commence without the RDA in hand.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, and I'd like to include in this, and we discussed it on the site visit, is the silt fence. The silt fence needs to be addressed in areas that it's down
Oh, yeah.
as part of the scope of work.
Nothing to do with your wattles, Paul, this is the silk fences that are up
Right.
behind, remember behind the
There's a
stone wall?
piece.
Yep, the last piece needs to be repaired, and I don't know if he needs to new it, or put new, or just stand it up and fix it. But if you can look into that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, so with that, I'd like to entertain a motion that we lift the cease and desist.
Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
go right ahead.
So I just, if we're gonna condition, where are we going with it, I think, no. But we should probably go out and make sure all the siltation is in place, there's, right?
Yeah, and a sock.
Bef-
So can you do this? Could you have Eric call us as soon as the wattle's in place? We'll either Mark, myself, or Christian will take a ride there, just make sure they're there. We'll give you an immediately thumbs up, and then they can go right on to you can go on to Paul's property, pull that back, clean it up, and get everything situated.
All right, so it's 7 days.
7 days.
I don't think that's asking a lot.
I don't think so either.
I mean, it's a week, right? I mean, I don't think he's gonna have a long time with the excavator in there,
No.
a few
It's not,
hours.
yeah.
I think it's
It's
gonna
not.
take longer to put the wattles in than to do the work itself, my own personal opinion.
It's not.
So,
it's not-
I think, Eric being aggressive will get in there and get it done sooner than what we both think, right? So, I think 7 days could be good. If you need any more time, please call us.
Okay. So as soon as the wattles are all set.
Give us a call.
So you can go take a look at them.
Yep.
And then he'll come in and do
And it don't have to be Mark. If Mark's not available, I will. If I'm not available, he will. And we'll just go
Notify
take a
the
look, make
office.
sure the waters are down.
And someone.
We'll call you immediately, give you thumbs up, do the work, and then right after the work's done, then we can tell Paul, go for it. And then as soon as we get we'll make a meeting, it'll probably be the 28th of his RDA. Well, I'll bet that one. It's getting pretty loaded.
Should be a
Okay.
short one.
Yeah, that should, hopefully not.
So we're gonna put you back on the June 25th.
Oh, June,
No.
May.
June, no, we're gonna do the June 25th. The work can go ahead, you won't have a cease and desist, but the RDA is gonna be handled at June 25th.
Oh, okay.
All right? Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is, do we do a motion? No, you interrupted me again. Okay, so I'm gonna entertain a motion that the cease and desist gets lifted, that the wattles get put in place, call the Conservation Commission, we'll give you thumbs up. Right after the thumbs up, Eric will do the job within 7 days, and then June 28th is when, 25th is when your RDA will be taken care of. Do I get a motion?
I'll make that motion based on these terms.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Catherine,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Okay. 550 Main Street, Navison Solar Site, review of matters presented, votes may be taken. So I see no one's here, right? So what I'm gonna say is, just to the commission, Christian and I did go out there. We took some soil samples roughly, started flipping the loom, see what it looked like. It kinda looked way under than what they said. So we were talking to Bill Madden today. We're gonna look and try to do a grid pattern sampler, like every 50 feet or something. But we'll call Steve, call Bill Madden, and we'll work on that. All right? Next, I'm gonna recuse myself, and this one's all yours, young man.
Cushing Lane, Lot 2, tree clearing complaint, review of matters presented, votes may be taken. This pertains to a parcel on Cushing Lane. There's been a substantial amount of tree clearing, and it's the commission's opinion that the area is large enough to warrant a stormwater permit. Does anyone have any discussion on that from the public?
Sure, I can speak on behalf of the,
Yep.
the owners. So that's, I guess, why we're here tonight. Jim Marsh for the owners, 21.
Yep.
Cushing. So, as I mentioned in my letter, I addressed to the chair, at this point, we were not aware that there was any land disturbance that would have triggered the stormwater bylaw. That's why
Well, I can't prove or disprove that.
the stormwater management permit hasn't been filed. I can tell you this, that this is, there was some tree clearing there. It was done as part of the siting of the proposed future septic system. This is a residential lot. It's gonna be built for a single-family home at some point in the future. I understand the lot's gonna get sold, so there's gonna be a new owner, not clients. Where they're gonna put the system, it's gonna be in the general area of where the perks were taken. But what are they gonna do with the home? Where's the drive gonna be? It's really premature. If a stormwater management permit is necessary, it'll be filed. There'll be an application filed with the commission to cover whatever land disturbances that exceed the trigger level of 40,000 square feet of disturbance. So if the tree clearing is beyond the 40,000, I still am under the understanding too, and I've had other matters in front of this commission, that if it's a residential, single-family home construction, it could be exempt from the stormwater bylaw. I know the chair brought up tonight that the group home is exempt. I'm not sure exactly why.
Well, that's a nonprofit,
Okay.
and I believe that's the reason. I'm not 100%
I'm not
sure.
either.
No, I'm not as of yet, but.
So I remember having a long discussion with the agent, Mr. Han,
Yeah.
at one point, and he said this lot that was in front was exempt from the stormwater bylaw because it was a single-family home residential lot. But nevertheless, we will intend to file, or the future owner will file the stormwater management permit application if necessary, which would cover everything if there's a trigger of the bylaw, this law. I just think
You gotta understand, we don't wanna set precedent on, who gets to pick and choose whether they need to obtain a stormwater permit, Is the property under agreement? Is there can we anticipate a stormwater application at some point? Because, again, I'm of the opinion that it was substantially more than 40,000 square feet of area that was cleared. And that's how the stormwater bylaw reads. I don't know.
I anticipate at some point, I don't know if it's under agreement or not.
I realize it's,
I don't wanna leave
that's
down the road.
not our concern per se, but it might help to ease the situation is all I'm trying to say.
Right, what is the timing like, right?
Mark, do you have any opinion on that subject? Have you been able to review the situation?
I did, and I shared an email with the commission about, I mean, there were several things going on here, you know, a site visit and.
That's correct, yeah.
My- If it's, I don't think we have it in front of us right now, that greater than 40,000 square feet has been cleared to trigger the bylaw. So I think, under the WPA, under the Act, I don't think that stormwater applies. So I think
You're right.
and I think we're dealing with the bylaw. And then the trigger is greater than 40,000 square feet. So, and I'll take it on folks that actually saw some of the clearing from an adjacent property, or that there was a lot of clearing. But I'm trying to understand the recourse here. I don't know if, and I don't know how to put this, but it would seem that some of this would come up during a permit application to do something. That said, I also understand, you know, I don't know, it's.
Your point is great, and when we go in, or it's not gonna be us, it's gonna be the new owner, it's gonna go in for a building permit. You know, the building commissioner is gonna, or whoever it may be at the office is gonna request that the applicant for the building permit has received all their other permits or necessary approvals, right? And one of them is likely gonna be the stormwater management permit. So the question's gonna get asked, have you got that from the Conservation Commission? And if you haven't, and you've triggered that land disturbance, then I'm not gonna issue this building permit first.
And I'm just thinking here that.
So that's the, sort of the avenue, I think.
And if it was, yeah, and if, I'm just thinking too, if it was a single family, they would have the issue of, they've triggered stormwater.
Right.
Potentially, to me, to be honest,
Not
I'm not a lawyer. You know, I've read a lot of.
In that regard,
Yeah.
do we have an opinion from?
Well, I haven't reviewed the
No, you
bylaw
haven't.
language
I
yet,
understand.
so,
No, that's
but I'm
fine.
happy to speak with my brother counsel about it. We can look at the bylaw language and figure out.
So I'm gonna throw in my 2 cents here. This seems to be a pretty contentious issue, to my understanding. Why not allow us to look at this and see what's going on this site, to make a site visit, to make a
Yeah,
determination?
that would be an easier way.
Right?
Yeah.
So that, yeah, no, that's already been, no,
sitting
so
here.
that's why we're at this crossroads.
Rather than sitting here and speculating, guessing of possibly, potentially passing on this problem to the new landowners, and it becomes their problem. I think this needs to be solved sooner than later. It was called as a complaint. And I believe as a board, we have the authority to go to the site, to see what's going there. And I believe there's some language in the law that allows us to do that.
Well, yeah, as the stormwater authority, I mean, we have a concern.
Okay.
That's where it stands.
Okay.
And I'm not ready to just make this go away at this point, because I think, as the council said, maybe there could be some discussion further and make a determination on whether the current bylaw applies or not. I mean, you're not gonna allow us a site visit, which would be the simplest way to really, you know, ultimately decide whether there is an issue or there isn't. So, you know, I can't make a decision at this point.
I mean, that's fair. but-
Right. I mean,
you know, access is not gonna.
And you gotta understand, we didn't just,
Wow.
we weren't just walking down Acushnet Lane and, you know, stumble upon something. I mean, we were notified, and that's what triggered, you know.
Was it in a butter or?
Look, I'm not even privy to that,
Okay.
so I can't help you with that.
Okay.
And again, you know,
Well,
the
I
bylaw is the bylaw, and everyone is accountable to it, everyone, in my eyes.
And I agree, the bylaw.
And I'm gonna tell you,
Yeah.
I've seen situations where there is a homeowner that modifies their property and ultimately clears over the 40,000 square feet without being aware of it. And they're no different. They trigger the stormwater bylaw, and they need a permit to do that. And that's the town bylaw.
I mean, the bylaw, what does a lawyer typically say? It speaks for itself, right? The language is in there, and it says what it says. And if you're required to file an application for a stormwater management permit because you've done something to a piece of property, a piece of land.
It doesn't matter
within the
where,
town.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Again, the timing issue is what I think is unclear in the bylaw. So, and I sort of harken back to the point that if there's gonna be a driveway that goes in there, if
No.
there's gonna be additional.
I realize, I do, I mean,
Then I think it makes sense to do it at a time where, you know, you're aware of what the build-out's gonna be, so you can then apply for the permit, knowing what the construction's gonna look like. And, you know, look, you made a good point, why don't we just.
I agree, but I disagree, because we went in there prematurely and cleared this lot, which
Right.
raises a lot of eyebrows, without any
in the oversight.
permitting,
Yeah.
or, you know.
I mean, and that's, I mean, where do you draw the line? Okay, I mean, where do you draw the line? If someone owns a 5-acre parcel and they go in and clear 3 acres, but they're not doing any construction or development, I mean, it's still, the law still applies. Again, you know, the 40,000 square feet is the trigger.
I'm just trying to think of, in terms of recourse, it's unfortunate if there was a greater amount of trees taken down than 40,000 square foot. If we knew that for certain,
Right.
then we
No, I know.
know it triggers the bylaw. But then the recourse here, I think it's unfortunate that, you know, that we're here, but, so do we require the property owner to go and apply for a stormwater permit? I don't, to be honest, you know, I don't know what's involved legally with doing that. I would think, you know, is that where we want to go with our time? And if there's something pending where we're going to get an application to, you know, for a driveway, for, I don't think it's, I don't think it's an ideal situation, but I'm just thinking, you know, what's the recourse? And I guess it's to try to compel one potential recourse would be to try to compel the property owner to get a stormwater permit. I don't know what that would entail, and I'm not recommending that. I don't know what they have in mind for the property.
At this point, I'm gonna leave this open to discussion. I wanna continue this on the agenda as in discussion until we get further recourse on whether we have any jurisdiction or and possibly the councils getting involved. I mean,
And I'll just add, I'm not advocating that we go that one route? Are there other?
Right, I would rather do this in a friendly manner.
Right.
Are there
I
other
mean, it's-
avenues that we can address it? I'm sorry, Doug, I'll cut you off. I didn't mean to,
Right, we
but-
would rather do this in a friendly,
Open.
open manner and
That's all.
not have to
That's all.
have litigation or attorneys
Well,
to represent, to make the site visit, involve legal services. We shouldn't be having to go down this avenue.
Well, in that being said, what is the cost of the stormwater permit? Go in.
I don't have that. but-
No, all right, no, that's fine. I'm pretty sure it's nominal. I don't believe it's substantial.
And again, I know there's specific language.
It's not the monetary issue, believe me.
And I
It's-
would rather not go that route.
It's about fairness to everyone,
Right.
is really what it comes down to. I hate to say that, but that's what that is. And I don't want to set a precedent unnecessarily for this commission. So, again, I'm just going to recommend we leave this on the agenda, open the discussion for the time being. That makes sense? Yeah.
For me.
All right.
I guess I'll just add one other thing, and I'm not necessarily advocating this, because I think once you drop the gloves are dropped, but, you know, whatever.
I'm not
That's-
gonna-
No, I'm not, but.
I'm a volunteer on this commission,
Right.
and I'm just concerned for the town's welfare
And I-
ultimately. That's it.
Right, that's all.
Well,
That's
if
my
the
agenda.
commission,
I don't have
if
an
the
agenda.
commission felt. they
So,
wanted-
all right, that
Christian,
being said,
Christian.
I'll,
Can I just, so if the commission felt they wanted access to the property,
Well,
they
that
can
was
pursue
first and
an
foremost.
administrative
That's
warrant.
first and foremost.
again.
Okay, so that, I'm just, as the agent, I'm advising, I'm trying to, you know, lay out some of
And
the
I
options
appreciate
here.
it, yeah.
And where they lead, but that's another option, if the commission feels strongly enough
So,
that they want access to the property, then they can
I
pursue.
think that's kind of the.
No, I'll entertain a motion that this be left open to discussion to the next meeting, which is,
Would be 250, page 1,000, right? Yeah. That's how I'm reading
Anything right now.
so, how are you reading it, Joe?
it. It says a minor permit up to 4 inspections for residential, single and two-family would be a $250 application
But,
fee.
but do we have any
Oh,
building plans? Is it a single family? I don't know.
Well,
what-
that-
we
I
don't
mean,
know.
That's,
Is that the town?
that's on
Literature?
our, that's on our website,
Yeah.
on the stormwater permit fee schedule. So,
that has nothing to do with what's happening here.
Hmm.
We're not.
So I'll entertain a motion that we continue this for further discussion to the next meeting,
Make the motion to continue this to the next week.
which is, what's it?
The May 28th.
Could we do that, Joe? Yeah, it should be brief.
Okay, second.
I made the motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, second.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Yeah, I'll send you an email. See, we can that's
Yeah,
fine.
feel free to call.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Just so the public knows, whether we go to a yard sale or if we go to look at property, if we see something wrong, we have to come forward because we raised our right hand to take an oath. So we have to advertise what we see. I'm just letting the public know
I
that.
understand how,
Yeah? Just letting the public know that.
I'm not pointing any fingers or making
I don't really care.
any determination. There's no,
All right. Stormwater operation and maintenance plan recorded, review of matters presented, votes may be taken.
what does that pertain to, Jimmy?
I don't know, I was just gonna ask Mark.
No, I'm not sure what that was for. It's not very,
Yeah, I know, it's not very highlighted.
no, it's just, it's
Yeah.
not explanatory at all. I
know.
Come back in the room.
you know, everybody has the same, and I feel the same way. Don't tell me what to do.
Can we take a recess? I'd like to entertain a motion to take a recess.
Motion to take a 5-minute
Second.
recess.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're back from recess. We have in the discussion, stormwater operation and maintenance plan recording. Mark, what's that about?
I don't know what that one's about.
Yeah.
But I did have one other thing I was gonna bring up.
That was the one you asked me to put on the agenda, because people, I guess in the stormwater bylaw, it doesn't have a specific area that's stated that the stormwater management plan needs to be recorded. We've had
Oh.
some issues with,
Oh,
Oh, okay, we just went through that with a situation down on Keene Road.
Hayes.
Not Keene Road, Garfield and
Yeah.
Hayes, okay.
so Mark asked me to put that on there, so that way the commission can vote, and even though it's not in the bylaw, it's gonna be our policy to have it recorded.
Okay, so let me tell them a little lay down here. So in Garfield and Hayes Street, they took and they applied for a stormwater permit, which was separate from their NOI. And what happens is they're saying that they don't need to record just a stormwater permit in the registry of deeds. After talking with,
Robbie saying he doesn't have to do that?
he didn't, but what we did is we showed him where it said that there was, in the past, people have recorded it. Robbie did end up recording the stormwater permit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna entertain a motion from now on that a stormwater permit that comes out of our office has to be recorded in the registry of deeds.
Oh, yeah,
I'll make that motion.
yeah,
Do I have a second?
yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
that makes total sense.
Okay.
Yes, very good.
Agent updates. Any updates there, Mark?
I just wanted to bring, and Kristen was there today, Buzzards Bay Coalition, has a conservation restriction, they're getting ready to finalize for the property, the Robishaw property, I guess. It's adjacent to PJ Keene Woods, and they're gonna come to the commission to ask us, the commission to take,
The restriction.
yeah, take the
Yeah, to
restriction.
hold the restriction.
Yeah, to hold the restriction.
That's correct.
I have that
Yeah.
word. So, I'm just kind of an update, it's kind of a successful,
Yeah.
it's a success
No
story.
doubt.
I guess they've got a bunch of waterfront, but it's gonna be interesting.
So what's the benefit?
Well, it widens the amount, it expands the amount of land that's continuous
Yeah.
with PJ Keene
Right.
Woods. So
Woods,
you got a bigger swath
Yeah,
of
huge.
land protecting
Huge.
runoff into the Acushnet there. They've got waterfront access, they talked about somewhere down the road, coming back to the commission.
Yeah.
Even for
a small marina and dock or something, or, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Access,
canoe,
access, period,
yeah, yeah.
access.
And, yeah, so it's,
Cool. Yep, it's very positive.
yeah, they're gonna email me a document, and I'll share it with you all.
That's right.
and It lays out.
The deed restriction, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and so some of your, to your point, Doug, some of the benefits and stuff like that, so. I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention. I think it's a good thing, any open space protection, I think it's good.
I think we all agree. Okay, other business.
Is that unanimous?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other business that may probably come before the commission, not reasonably anticipated when posting 48 hours prior to the meeting?
well, I can say I'll be on vacation the week of Memorial
Oh.
Week, in the Friday, so I
So,
think we gotta do some planning.
The week
when-
of Memorial?
Yeah, usually I take that Friday,
Yeah.
then the Monday,
Yeah.
Friday.
Mhm.
So I think
Wow.
we're gonna do some
You
planning.
get like 10 days.
No,
What'd you just?
Friday,
Yeah.
and then Monday's a holiday,
Right.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
No, so you get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Do you work on Friday and Saturday?
No, I'm not, that's, no,
You
I'm
get 10
saying
you have
very
10 days
nice.
in a row.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that's very nice.
So Joanne and I were actually talking about this today. We were actually thinking about maybe another meeting. And then I said, absolutely not. We're not doing another meeting in June. We're not doing 3. It's just, we give enough time already. I'm not willing to give another Wednesday night.
July is a tough month.
Yes, well, we're talking June.
Yeah.
So what Joanne and I are gonna do, her and I are gonna get together Thursday afternoon, and we're gonna start looking at what has to be posted for that. She'll be able to post it, so this way we can still run our June 11th, June 25th meeting without issues. We're not gonna go with another meeting, we're just gonna, probably our June 11th is gonna be another real heavy meeting, and I hate to say this, guys, our next few meetings are gonna be outrageous, because everyone's just building and doing everything right now, which stinks for us, because it is our summertime too. The other thing I wanna say is Heidi texted me, regarding the site visits. And she says, I had the opportunity to get my grandson, and, that's what life is all about, Heidi. No, that's what life is all about, and I want every member on this board to realize that. If you have family, something special, don't think that this is number one. What she did Saturday, that's number one. What I do with my granddaughters and everything else, that's number one. I just want this board to know that priorities is not this. Priorities is our families, our lives. We are volunteers, and right away, what did I respond? That's your grandson, right? So I just want the board to know, and no one would ever get upset with you. No one's ever going to be angry if you miss something because you're with family, and that's not an excuse, that's life.
Yeah.
And I just want to emphasize that. And like I said, Joanne, you and I will get together. I'm willing to sit down with you. Mark said he can help out too, and we'll go from there. How's that sound?
I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying.
That's
I
right.
know,
Yep.
I know we're trying to wrap this
That's what I'm
one
trying
up,
to
but,
say.
it seems like some of y'all have spoken with, Rebecca, and is,
Nelson called me tonight.
is he?
He said he is all done. He's gonna put his letter in. Rebecca already said the letter is written, but she hasn't submitted it to the selectmen. I told her, please get it to them immediately.
Yeah, because it's better not having them on there, on the commission, and because.
Especially when we're voting.
Yeah, because then their votes aren't being
That's right, correct.
tallied.
And then the other thing is, as soon as they turn in a letter, the sooner we can start advertising, we want new members, we need new members.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta, yeah, I'm already gonna try to start reaching out.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read future business. The next meeting of the Conservation Commission will be held on May 28, 2025. Continuance and discussion only. No new applicants will be discussed. Meeting is to be held at the police station conference room located at 64 Middle Road, Acushnet, Mass. That is definitely still at the police department?
We're still here, I think until June. I'll have to check with Sydney and Jamie.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna pass this around and sign it.
So the other thing was signed at Lake Street, I believe, right?
What's that?
We signed Lake Street tonight.
Right, that's it, right? That's all,
Yes.
that's a go now, yeah.
Oh, wait.
Right after the signatures. I wanted that, I have it all the time.
Oh, wait,
Tilly Way.
Zero Slocum.
Yeah, we
It
said we
said
signed.
conditional.
Yep, we gotta sign zero, so I'm glad we didn't include it.
And, Tilly Way.
So Mark, it's very important that Slocum Street gets all the contingencies emailed to them immediately.
Yeah.
I know that you're not available tomorrow, but you are available Friday, correct?
Friday, yeah.
So you'll be able to take care of Claire on Friday.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I just don't ever want to say, well, it took, you know what I mean? I just want to get it done and,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and there ain't a lot of contingencies, but I think that boring is very important.
Yep, and yeah, that's step one, it sounds like.
All right, I know that it's only us, we only got a couple signatures left. With that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.